Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Top Ends with Twins. We are just a couple days away from the FPL deadline, so Luke and I are going to give you our final thoughts.
Oh, hey there everyone. Sorry, I was just playing around with another draft.
And he actually was.
Welcome back to Top Ends with Twins, everyone. This is Luke here. Paul is sitting right next to me. Paul, say hello to everyone.
Hey everybody, how are we doing? This is, I know we talked about this, I feel like, in the last two podcasts, but it's such an exciting time as an FPL manager. It's like whenever you were a kid around Christmas or any specific holiday where you just couldn't sleep the night before and you're ready to open your presents and realize disappointment's right around the corner.
Mommy and Daddy had a bad year. And you are not getting the presents you want. And yes, Mommy and Daddy was just said on the podcast, but sorry, not that sorry about that. So let's move along. Everyone, this is a very busy and joyous time in the FPL season, as we have talked about multiple times. We are 4 days out from the Premier League season officially kicking off, which is crazy because it's been a long summer, very eventful, but I feel like that made the time fly by.
Yeah, Luke, I can tell you we have 3 days, 17 hours, and 9 minutes until the FPL deadline. I set a timer on my phone.
Wow, very dedication there. So
I added a widget to my phone screen.
You taking off work on Friday?
I can't comment about that on the podcast, Luke.
Okay, no comment. Yeah,
I legally have no comment.
Gotcha. Okay, well, I agree with that. I like that.
It is a holiday, though. An international holiday. So maybe, who knows?
Federally recognized, yeah. It was a part of the new tariff bill that was passed. But moving on past that, what we're going to do here is we're going to talk about a lot of different topics pretty quickly, because during this time of the FPL season, there's a million different things that are on our minds as FPL managers. And sometimes the best thing to do is to hear someone else think through their thoughts, and then that helps you rationalize where your mind's going for a lot of different things. So we're just going to get right into it. I think that may be a good topic for us to start with. Paul, do you have anything that comes out initially, or do you want me to lead? We can go from whichever direction you want.
I mean, you already got it going, man. You go ahead.
All right. I think the first thing on my mind is double forced defense. And here's the thing. It's a risky bet to an extent, because when you lose that clean sheet, let's say Force loses a clean sheet in game week 1 when they're going up against, sorry, I'm pulling up the fixtures here. So Force have Brentford to start out the year at home.
Heavily diminished Brentford.
Brentford.
Oh my God.
It's a new Premier League club. They got promoted. But Brentford is going to be playing Forced at the Forced ground. What?
I think so. I don't know. Are we?
Our American is showing here.
Let's see. I'm trying to look at their.
Yeah. Okay. No. Okay. Whatever. Moving past that, my brain is permanently scarred now.
The city ground.
City ground.
The city ground. Yeah.
Apologies to any Force fans out there listening.
Yeah. Sorry. We are Americans, Luke said.
But
so.
Okay. What I was saying though is, if we see Brentford go into Forced and they score a goal, that will be a little unexpected, because as Paul was saying, they are going to be playing with not all of their players available. They've lost Mbomo. They've lost Norgard. A team that's definitely changed. They're losing their manager as well. Wissa, we're not sure if he's going to be playing or not. We'll see. A move to Newcastle seems like it's very possible, but we're not sure at this point. So that is to be determined right now. But Forced would be expecting a clean sheet here. And
sure.
Especially, they've had, I think, 6 clean sheets in their 7 friendlies that they've played in so far this season, preseason.
The one goal they gave up to, the team they gave up the goal to.
Who was it?
Birmingham.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Birmingham City. Good, decent documentary out there. If you all are interested, it's called Brady and the Blues. Here in the U.S., it's on Amazon Prime.
Patriots fan.
Yeah,
check that bad boy out.
Tom Brady has some weird moments in that, but we'll move
I
past that.
haven't seen it, so I can't comment.
But what I'm trying to say here is that clean sheet is very important to have if you're going to be investing in double force defense. But the thing about Forced investing in 2 of their defensive assets is they have 3 players on their team who are close to averaging 10 DEFCON contributions per match. And that's per match, right? I think Nico Williams averages about 7 point something. Murillo's almost around 10 per game. Milinkovic is around 8, I believe, somewhere in that ballpark. All 3 of those are great options. And even if you lose that clean sheet, and let's say you have Milinkovic and Murillo, they both get their DEFCON contributions in that one match. That's an extra 4 points that last year just weren't there. And over the course of the season, let's say that happens 10 more times, right? Like that's an extra 40 points that just previously did not exist in your team in other seasons.
No, it's a great vehicle to kind of supplement, especially if you're missing clean sheets every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have a defense that, like Nottingham Forest last year, which I don't know if you can really use the word prolific in defense, but they were one of the most stout defenses in the Premier League. And an interesting thing too, Luke, I mean, you see Milinkovic, he's at 9.6 ownership. Murillo is 5.2, which is interesting. And then you have Aina, who's 17.1, the highest one, and then Nico Williams at 6.9.
The Aina and Nico Williams, I think that's just casuals who are thinking of Aina from last year. His DEFCON is not very high compared to Nico Williams.
I think the people that have Aina are probably going that route because of the attacking returns from last season mixed with, I mean, I don't remember how many clean sheets they had last season, but you see a mixture of that. I mean, Aina last season, what did he end on? He had 128 points as a defender last season. He had 2 goals and 1 assist. So, I mean, he's somebody that can turn up in those weird spots. But, I mean, logistically, over a season, if you think about it, if you can get more of those DEFCON points compared to 2 goals and an assist, you're going to be better off with the DEFCON points.
Yeah.
Like, if you compare 40 points to maybe 18, 20-ish maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that
See
makes
what I'm saying? Like, there is a duality to, like,
there is
which way you want to go. But if you get both of those things, I mean, if you have a player that gets DEFCON points, goals and assists, and clean sheets, that's what we call that is
a holy
golden.
trifecta.
That would be insane. But which honestly, I'm gonna say it. Pedro Porro maybe.
He's a good option. I think Munoz is the prime middle ground of someone who's going to be in really attacking positions and getting DEFCON contributions. So that's kind of the next point I wanted to make with defenders. I would argue that this year, and this is just for defenders, this is not midfielders or attackers, that you can be choosing defenders purely based upon the player and not upon fixtures. Because, a little controversial here, but it's something I've been thinking about today. While I was working, typing away in my spreadsheets, I had FPL in the back of my mind. And
good save there.
And the thing about it is that when you look at defenders, that extra 2 points goes such a long way. Because if we can rely upon having those 2 points and we're getting 4 points a game, and you throw in clean sheets here and there, those reliable points are going to add up over the course of a season.
Yeah. And I mean, if you look at it too, I mean, if you have, let's just say if you're playing a back four, if you just consistently across the board get those 4 points week in and week out, I mean, you're starting off the week with what, like 20, stop kidding, with 16 points every week, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, 4 times that's 16, but
no, you're right.
I just had to make sure. But I mean and it may not seem like a lot, but I mean, that really helps take a week where, I mean, if you don't get any attacking returns in your team and you just maybe have a couple clean sheets from midfielders, if you have those extra 14 points basically baked into your team every week, you're basically you're raising your floor. You really are.
But think about any mini league you were in last year or your overall rank in general. Those extra points, let's say it adds 60 points to your total. the rank that you would have gone to, as let's say you ended at 1 million, right? Those extra 60 points could have pushed you up to 750K, right? And that is simply from having someone in your team by selecting them because they have a higher likelihood to reach more points than another player, right? That's all that is. And maybe be willing to stay with them a little bit longer than you typically would be in the past. So.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Luke. I think that's a really good point to bring up the balance between DEFCON, attacking, returns. And I mean, I think that's also like we can stay with defenders, but I think one of the biggest questions that I have right now is where do I actually want to put the emphasis on my team?
Where you want to put the most value?
Where am I allocating most of the funds in my team? And it can be like, is it going to be a heavy defense, midfield centric, or forward? And every time I make a team, it's different. So I mean, that's kind of a thing that I mean, I think it really helps to have an ethos as an FPL manager where it's like this is kind of it's like you're steering your ship in a certain direction. If you're going north then south, then like you're not ever going to go anywhere. You're going to stay in the same spot.
Right.
So having that ethos is something that I probably should figure out.
Okay, my question to you, maybe this will help kind of guide you a little bit. So let's say you're going big at the back. Money's not a concern when you're picking your defenders. If you were going to pick 4 defenders, who would they be?
Oh, man.
Purely just based upon how many points you think they're going to give in your FPL team from game week 1 to game week 10.
Okay, 1 to 10. I would go Pedro Porro, Murillo, Van Dijk, and probably Tarkowski. I would say so.
Okay.
But Tarkowski is like, I'm kind of on the edge. I'd probably maybe go Munoz over Tarkowski.
Okay.
But I'm kind of in a different mindset than you where like I think Palace is a really fun team and I'm really glad they won the Community Shield. But I just don't know. I mean, like if we saw the results that they're not going to make it to Europa League, they're going to be in Conference League, which may signal a shift that they're going to be more willing to sell players.
Other thing too is they're going to have to play qualifiers. Have you seen about this?
Isn't it it's game week 1 to 2?
It's between game week 1 and 2, and then also between game week 2 and 3.
Yeah.
So something to keep in mind there. That's more time that Palace players are going to be spent traveling, playing matches that they have to win. Or like at this point, getting into the Conference League, which is a complete farce that they're not going to be in Europa League. But that's something that they're going to have to prioritize. They have to win those fixtures. So it's gonna damage how they perform in the Premier League to an extent. Maybe it won't damage them, but it's going to take away from other time they could be spending.
Yeah, I mean there's that too, and even if because I mean the amount of money they would have made in Europa League compared to Conference League is fundamentally different for how the club's outlook, I'd say, looks over the next season, next 2-3 seasons, So to me that signals, and I'm not saying this for personal reasons, but it signals that they'd be more willing to sell people. And like if you see Eze go out the door and then potentially Gahey, because I mean I'm sure that Liverpool,
apparently
Chelsea,
they're going to sell him. That's the word
I mean
on the street.
he leaves on free. He leaves for free next summer. Like you can't have that. I mean you can't have they could probably get maybe 60, 65 million for him.
I think 50 is probably bare minimum what they would get.
Yeah.
But think about last season. They could have sold him for 80 million to Newcastle at least. Maybe even more than that. And now Liverpool, it seems like Liverpool's where he's going to end up. That's what my thought is.
Oh, man.
That would be tough. He'd be a great fit in that system.
The rich get richer. What can we say?
Coming from the guy who had the top spend in the Premier League for the season.
It's because Arsenal don't know how to sell players. Sorry.
Fair. Yeah.
Like, they just don't know how to sell. It's like...
I will say highest net spend. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But, okay. Yeah. Continuing on. Keep going.
Well, Luke, so we'll just balance it out. I said the 4 defenders that I would have at this point in time. Who are the 4 defenders that you would have?
The 4 I would have before yesterday and any day in the last 2 weeks, I would have said Virgil van Dijk.
They
I've
looked horrible.
now come off Van Dijk because he's so expensive and the fixtures are pretty tricky to start out the season. There's better fixtures to hunt out there, as I just talked about how, defenders should only be used for their value. I think Muniz is the best defending option out there. Munoz, sorry, not Muniz.
I was like the striker.
Munoz.
That is so bold of you.
You get DEFCON contributions, and you get attacking returns mixed together. So I think he's one I look at, and fixtures do not matter as far as how that goes. So, but I have to keep reminding myself of that too as I kind of look at him. Next, I think Gabriel's someone who's up there. I know his DEFCON is not the best, but
The attacking returns.
the attacking returns are great. He's someone who slots right in really nicely. Murillo is my third one. I think Murillo is a great option. Really good. Great on the DEFCON, and he even has some attacking returns in him as well. So he's a must-have. The last one, I'm going to go a little off the wall. It's a bit speculative, but I'm going to go with Rainy Nori at City, playing at left back.
Yeah.
I think he's someone that Pep might rotate. Pep always rotates, so that's a given. But I think he's he's the true natural left back. Clearly, Pep wants to play Gvardiol as a center back, so putting Nori on the left, letting him play left back / left mid, maybe invert him a little bit, have him pull wide left. In some situations, I think he's going to be a great option to have. So
Yeah, I agree with you. I love El Nori. He's gonna. I mean, that's the thing about City that I think a lot of people aren't really conceptualizing at this point in time. That like they still may give up a lot of goals, but they're going to score a fuck ton of goals this year. I mean, look who they have. Nori at left back and their midfield. I mean, they're just gonna have to play progressive because I mean, without Rodri for the first month and a half or first month. They're just going to have to outscore people.
It was weird. I was working today, and as I was working, one of City's videos just played on YouTube, and Rodri was in the training video, which Pep did say that he was training with them. I think they're just slowly building him back up after he picked up that injury in the Club World Cup. So, yeah, but I think he's fully training with the team. They're just really taking their time with him.
I mean, as they should, though. I mean, he's such an instrumental player in their system, and like,
yeah,
we don't ever want to see people hurt and then constantly re-injured. Like that's just not good for the sport, you know.
You want him for that, stretch whenever you go into December, right? And then you're coming out and you have Champions League every other week, so that's what they want him for. So, yeah, build him back up to that. But yeah, I think that's a really interesting list. I think that'll help people kind of think about defenders in a bit of a different way, right, as they're going through. The next topic that I think we can go into is looking at the template currently. There's definitely a template forming, I think, but I'll hand it over to you to start out with, Paul. How do you feel about do you think there's a current template? And if so, do you disagree with any portion of it?
Well, I think it's very clear that in all the podcasts we've had so far this year that this podcast is pro Holland, and we both have, I think, built a majority of our teams around Holland. I lately have been dabbling a little bit with building teams with Holland and Salah together, but Luke raised his eyebrows when I said that.
I did.
It's just not fun. Like if we're being honest, I mean, to me, like it allocates so much of your budget for these two players, and I'm not saying that I think that Salah you'd be wrong to go with Salah because I think he could be a great option. We've detailed the reasons why. I just think the goals are going to be more diffused into the Liverpool team, and I think Holland's going to have a monster year. So I think me and Luke both are going to kind of be early movers. So I really would just push back on the Salah has to be a mandatory part of your teams because a lot of the things I see on especially X, Blue Sky, all that stuff, there's Holland owners are for sure in the minority, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he currently, last I saw, he was at
18%
ownership. It's even going down, right? So Palmer did pass Salah as the most highly owned player, which does not shock me. I think Palmer's he's going to have a good season. The part of the template that I've seen recently that I strongly disagree with is João Pedro. João Pedro he's currently the highest owned player, I believe, in the game. Or if not, he's second or third. That, to me, is a problem for other people, but not something that if you don't go there, you don't have to worry about it, right? Because he scored 5 goals in his 5 games for Chelsea. I just don't see that streak continuing with the competition he has. Jackson hasn't been sold yet. Delap is someone who is a very good striker who is a different profile. So I think even if João Pedro is playing really well at certain stretches, he could be benched because there's a fixture where tactically Delap makes more sense.
For sure.
And as an FPL manager, that is our nightmare. We want someone like
X minutes,
like Holland, who City are going to change the way they play in some fixtures, but he stays the same.
Yeah.
Right. They might ask a little bit different things of him, but he's always going to be there. So that's what I'm looking for in an FPL asset. And João Pedro, I think he's as far from stable as possible. And he's not on pins anymore, too, which is where, 60% of his goals came from last season? So,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm just very much so not on the João Pedro bandwagon. Some people may be, and I could be wrong about this, right? Like, I'll admit it if I am. If 5 game weeks from now, if he has 8 goals, all right, Luke's an idiot. I'm fine with that. But
I don't think you're an idiot, Lucas.
An FPL idiot, potentially. Maybe not an idiot in general. But I will admit when I'm wrong. And if he happens to go on that streak, I'll admit it. I was wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I just think if you're going to own a Chelsea attacking asset, it has to be Palmer. Even where he's at price-wise now, he is just the immutable fact of that Chelsea attack. Like, I don't know the numbers to like how many goals he's assisted to João Pedro, all that stuff. But I mean, I would guarantee if you went back and watched it, Palmer's the first creator, maybe the one that finds the last ball. But I mean, he's involved with everything. So why would we not have him in our teams? And I just really wouldn't like João Pedro. Like you're right, Luke. It's just not a. It's not a what's the right term for this? He's just not a solid FPL asset at this point in time in my head. Like if we get 7 game weeks in the season and Luke's prediction comes true, which I don't think it will. I think Luke's kind of right about what he's saying. If it does, then we adjust our mindset, you know. But I would just be really surprised if that happens. But I do think Chelsea are going to have a really good season this year, so we'll see.
Yeah, I do too. I think Chelsea will be good. I'm a little worried about the Club World Cup. That was still 3 weeks ago, I think,
will.
or so, right? Like, bodies are not built to be playing at the high level that professional athletes play at and not have a break either, right? Like, it's just, it's gonna happen, and we hate to see it happen to players. So that's one of the reasons why we talk about it, right? Because this is something that should not just be brushed under the rug and not acknowledged, because major injuries like this are really difficult and tough on the players, because not only are they building their bodies back, their job is demanding they're back within 7 months, and that's a lot to try to do. So, João Pedro, he's an avoid in my opinion. But another thing is they're going to bring in other attackers too before the window closes.
I mean, what are they? They're rumored to Garnacho, Xavi Simons. I mean, they already brought in what is it? The winger from Dortmund, Gittins.
Yeah, Bino Gittins.
Who has looked really good so far in their preseason. They have Neto, they have João Pedro, Delap. I mean, it's the Chelsea setup that we've just seen for the past 3 years, where they have 3 players deep at every position that arguably could push for a starting spot at most other teams.
Yeah, and that's why they have so many
circumstances.
That's why they have so many outgoings this season, because they just invest very heavily in their squad, and they like to have a very deep squad. So, very young players. Okay, I think The next thing that we can kind of go into here is midfielders. Kind of talk about how we're distributing the funds within teams. You were kind of mentioning that yours is very spread out, Paul, when you're building teams. Sometimes it's big at the back, sometimes you're going heavy in the midfield, and sometimes you're really investing those forwards. When you were investing heavily in the midfield, what were the main considerations for you as you're picking your midfielders?
That's a big question. If we're just looking at FPL right now through a midfield lens, my big takeaways are, I think there's probably almost 7 or 8 options you could really go with in there from a range of different price points that I think are going to be really good options all throughout the season. But I think there's a certain class of probably 3 to 4 midfielders that if I had unlimited budget, they would all be in. So that would be Saka, Bruno Fernandes, Vert/Salah. I'm going to mix them together since they're on the same team. And then I would also, I'll just, Saka and Rice. I think those two, like, I think there's different combinations, there's different ways you can play it. But another thing we've talked about too a lot in this pod, Luke, or actually I think we've just kind of had conversations outside the podcast about it, but finding ways to kind of hedge against and saving price points. Like, I think Rice is a great way to hedge for Saka. I think that Vert's maybe a suitable way. We're not 100% sure. But, I mean, if you watch Liverpool in the Community Shield, Verts was involved with a lot more of the action than Salah was. And we know how Salah is. He drifts, he floats through matches, and he ends up scoring 2 goals, one being a penalty and one being he gets played the ball on the right wing, and he finishes because he's an elite finisher, you know. But in saying that, I do think that Bruno Fernandes is also in that conversation. He, in their last friendly, hit DEFCON metrics, got an assist, and I would assume he's going to be on 3. He would be on 3 bonus for that. So I mean, that to get 1 assist and provide like that, I mean that's really hard to do.
It's really impressive. There's a lot of points within there that you made that I like a lot. Rice and Saka. I think that Rice is not as good of a hedge on Saka, but it might work in the long run because he's on set pieces. He can get DEFCON contributions, but it seems like since he moved Arsenal, he's not as inclined as he was at West Ham.
Oh, he was
to get that 10
purely as a 6 when he was at West Ham.
Well, I guess as a midfielder, he has to hit 12 anyway, so that does make it harder. The thing on top of that, speaking of hedging, with Verts and Salah, everyone's talking about the Community Shield and how Liverpool looked. Salah looked disengaged, wasn't as involved. I was seeing that earlier in the preseason where Liverpool had that day. It was the first time they returned to Anfield after Jota had, very tragically passed away. So there are a lot of emotions. They played Athletic Bilbao in 2 fixtures. And in the second fixture was where they had the majority of their kind of like A team playing in it. In that one, I watched Florian Wirtz very closely. He was pretty much playing as a second striker. In some of the other preseason friendlies, he was just playing as a straight out false 9, right, and dropping deep. But the runs that he makes from
channel to channel, he's going channel to channel.
He'll drop deep, receive the ball at the midline, and he will absolutely rip into the box from there. And his timing's really good, right? So you see those runs he's making, he's going to get on the run of a ton of those. And we saw with Ekitike in the Community Shield, one of the best things he does is his link up play. Yeah. He's really good at creating space for other players.
Terrifying.
Yeah. So Wirtz is the guy. I think he's not even a hedge on Salah. I think he's the clear best asset for Liverpool midfielders, in my opinion. We'll see how that plays out over the course of the season.
I also, Luke, I have a quick aside for you.
Yeah, of course.
I think Liverpool, they would have probably faced a ton of backlash if this came out and like it was said or anything like that, or if it ends up happening this way. if Liverpool want to push for the title again, if they want to push for even having a better season than last year, I think all that money that they're going to supposedly invest in Isak should go to getting a new defender and maybe even another midfielder. Because I think they'll be fine up top with Ekatike. Like I was.
But let's say Ekatike gets hurt or
That's
goes
true.
down,
That's
or
true.
let's say he just has a really bad stretch. And
Mm-hmm.
as someone who's new to the Premier League, who's younger, it's going to be a tough transition for him. What most would imagine. So I think having Isak allows you to let Ekatike grow into his role over time, and also take some pressure off Isak as well by having a good backup.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, like they really are one center back injury away from all that just crumbling, though. You know.
Yeah.
And I mean, you want Joe Gomez to start a third of your matches in the Premier League and a Champions League? No, at this point you don't. Like you really don't.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I think that's why the rumblings around Gahey have gotten a little bit louder. Liverpool realized this, but I think they had the intention of trying to grow their attacking depth, right? But doing that with very talented players, so that costs a lot when you try to do that.
Yeah, but I agree.
The one last midfield point I want to make, and this could be a little controversial coming from me. I think Bruno Fernandes is the best midfield option in FPL this season.
Wow, I did not expect you to say that.
I was thinking about it today as well, and he's going to be great on the DEFCON metrics for one. He is naturally a very creative player, and he's going to be surrounded by talent that he hasn't seen in decades.
No, literally,
at Manchester United.
Yeah.
In those matches where he'd be accruing an XA of 1.5, 2.2 and getting nothing out of it, those days are long gone. I think he's going to have games where he's going to have 3 assists on an XA of 0.1, right?
Yeah.
Like 300% higher than it should be, right? Which is just crazy. But
I heard that Slot was telling Højlund to learn Chinese. that was the rumor that I heard.
That's funny.
Get ready to learn Chinese, buddy. But no, look, I completely agree with you that actually I don't know if I completely agree with you that Bruno's the best midfield asset, but I think he's in the conversation. I don't think it's crazy.
What pushed me to that point is I was sitting there playing around some drafts and I was like, oh, I'll take Bruno Fernandes out. And I couldn't do it. I was in my mind, I think he's someone who's going to be fixture proof, someone that we want to have in our teams. And I don't know. I could see him ending the season like 10.5 million or something like that. It wouldn't shock me.
Yeah. The thing for me with Bruno though is that I think he could be more consistent this year than he has those big scoring games, which is fine. Like that's
I'm fine with that.
It's literally just like passive income every week, you know. It's like what we talked about, the 14 points from your back line if they hit DEFCON metrics. Like having those points just built into your team is going to be awesome. But I do think though that like I think there's a certain appeal, especially for midfielders, and a lot of people are going to have to adjust their thinking, because I think this way a little bit too, that like I want to see a goal and an assist, 3 bonus points, all these big flashy things. And like,
right,
you're probably right that, I mean, having like, if Bruno can average like 6-7 points a match, and he averages that over 38 weeks.
Yeah.
That's great.
No, that's all we can ask for, right? And I think the thing about that is you're spot on in saying that we have been conditioned in FPL that you want someone who's going to haul, like Salah, and that's who you go with, right?
That kind of rhymed.
It did. You're welcome, everyone. I actually rap on the side. I can put my sound. No, I won't do that. You guys can keep thinking of.
Oh my!
Try to find it if you can. But no, what I'm trying to say here is that changing our mindset to be more focused on raising the floor of how many points we can get, as opposed to the ceiling, because that ceiling we'll find those players throughout the course of the season that are the most reliable captains and the most reliable for those massive hauls. Building into that is a lot easier once you have a very sound floor to go from. So I think looking for consistent returns, players who are likely to return, while having good value too, is the best way to build your team.
Yeah, I agree with you, Luke. And another quick little point about midfielders before we move on. I do think there are some really good budget enablers in there. Like, even if you look at the 5.0, 5.5, 6 to 6.5 bracket, like there's a lot of players in there that I think, like, you have I was going to say his name, Aries at Wolves. He was
not sure how to say it either.
I honestly, I haven't really ever heard it said before. I've just seen his name down on paper, but or on my phone.
I was about to say on paper.
Yeah.
You printing out the spreadsheets?
I've been printing stuff out and pasting it all over my walls and building my immersive FPL space before I go to bed. But
your immersive FPL space.
That derailed. But I think he could be a good option for Wolves. Apparently, there's a chance he could end up taking pens. He could be really involved in that attack. We'll see what Wolves are this year. Who knows? But I mean, at 5.5, you have Xhaka at Sunderland, 5.0. He had a free kick go off the crossbar in their preseason match. Obviously, it's kind of like the duality, not duality, but the balance between like what Luke was talking about earlier, where how much do we read into preseason, and then what's actually true, what's not, and then what the games are actually telling us when they start on Friday.
And who's going to find form, right? Because another great example of a FPL asset that could be a really good player over the course of the season, Jack Grealish at 6.5, going to Everton. He's going to be their main man. And when he was the main man of Villa, he was incredible. That's why he broke the British transfer record at that point in time, because maybe it was a slight overpay, but he was that good at Villa, right?
Yeah, he was great.
Maybe he can find that form again going to Everton. I certainly hope he does. Seems like he's one of those players you want to see them succeed, right? So, but the budget enablers, there's some really other good. Speaking of Everton, we've got Dewsbury Hall at $5 million.
Yeah, that's really good to point out.
That's an asset that he was playing a 10 in their last preseason friendly. He was on set pieces at $5 million. That's a great bargain. Someone you can have on your team. Another now City asset is Tijani Reinders at City. 5.5 million. Yep. He gets a brace in their one preseason friendly. Should have been a hat trick. He had a tap in and he tripped over his own feet before it could have been a hat trick. And his ownership would probably now be at 20% instead of 9% like it is. Yeah. But that's a really good option there too. 5.5 There's lots of really good. There's another Joshua King with Fulham. I think he's 5 million.
I think he's 4.5.
He might be 4.5. At 4.5, if he starts, that is incredible value. Yeah, and he's very talented.
He scored in their last preseason match, I believe.
I saw the video. He's very talented player too. So there's ways to build a team that, and we didn't think we had this when they first announced the prices. We have enablers out there that will allow us to get in as many of those premium or mid-tier premiums that we want in our teams, because we have good defending options, good forward options, and goalkeeper options at the bare minimum price floors if you want to go there.
Yeah, I mean, even if you look at the forwards too, I mean, we have price points of like Fulkrug at 6.0. There's Raul Jimenez at 6.5, who just scored in their preseason match as well.
I wouldn't go to him until Muniz is sold. If Muniz is sold, which he might go to Leeds, is the rumor, that would be an interesting fit for him.
It would. I mean, it would. I agree with you. And then also another name to throw out. I mean, 6.5, Strand Larson. Yeah. But can Wolves score goals? That's the question, because, I mean, I don't think they scored once in preseason. So if they can figure that out, I mean.
No. Yeah. Well, it's going to be a rough start for Wolves, I think. But I think eventually they'll be fine. They have enough talent in that squad where they'll be okay. But if they would to sell Strand Larson, I would get worried. I'd be concerned for them.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of a thing too this year where, I mean, we have teams like Brentford, Fulham haven't really sold as much, Wolves have sold a lot, West Ham have sold a little bit, not too much, but I mean, a lot of these mainstay teams that are mid to bottom tier table could really be struggling this year. I don't think Everton's in that list. Everton, I would think, have added all the necessary pieces they really wanted.
If everything clicks at Everton, I could see them pushing for
They could
top 10, maybe even Europe. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But David Moyes has a very clear playing style, and it's
your favorite.
It's not easy to play against.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. There's a lot of possibility with the beginning of the season, and it's hard to predict how everything's going to play out. That's for sure.
Yeah, I agree with you, Luke. But I don't know. If you have, this is probably going to be our final podcast before the FPL deadline this Friday it's 1:30 Eastern Standard Time. So I think that's, what time is that British Standard?
It would be 6:30 their time.
6:30 British Standard.
Yeah.
So if you have just and you can keep it as brief as you want, or you can dive it to a million rabbit holes if you want. I'm fine with whatever. But what would you recommend to people going into, considering all the stuff we've talked about, a new FPL season right now?
My piece of advice is, for one, start to get to the point of where you're locking in portions of your team, right? You don't want to be completely redesigning Paul's laughing because he's probably doing this right now.
No, I was just thinking about the person that has their team completely set, and then 2 minutes before the deadline, they're like, "Wow, I forgot about Harry Wilson at Fulham. Oh my God, I need him in my team," and they change everything.
Yeah,
it happens.
It does.
You're making a good point.
My advice is to start to lock certain players into your team and then play around the edges of that. So get your idea down. Figure out, do you want to go Holland? What?
I said your ethos.
Your ethos. That's exactly right. So do you want to go Holland? No Salah. Do you want to go Salah? No Holland. Do you want to go without both of them? I think those are the three main types of drafts to play around with, and then go from there. But start locking in specific players that you keep finding yourself going back to, and then play around on the edges there and see what you can make around that. There's lots of great ways to do that, but one thing that we highlighted on the last podcast is we've really liked the new website called Solio. It is a FPL analytics dashboard.
Interactive, yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
It's very similar to some other FPL tools in that you can pick your team, but the features, the design is very new to FPL.
The best thing about it is it's very intuitive, and you can kind of adapt it to what you want out of it too,
Yeah. And I will say, this is not a paid promotion. This is purely out of love and respect of FPL. This is a good tool for FPL managers.
Yes, we don't know a single person attached with.
We do not. We do not. So
we don't know anybody.
You got that right. Yeah, but I think that's probably my advice for everyone. And then, yeah. And so what would yours be, Paul?
I think you said it pretty spot on right there. Having kind of starting to put the pieces together, because I mean, wait, let me pull up my little timer here. I think we're sitting at, let's see, we're now 3 days, 16 hours, and 27 minutes away from the FPL deadline.
Time has flown.
The first one of the season. So we're getting out of crunch time. We really are. And I mean, there may be people out there that haven't even touched their team yet, which is perfectly fine, because I mean, I was talking to a couple people this weekend, and it was like, yeah, I've made 57 teams already, and they were like, I haven't touched my team, which is good in itself, because I mean, I think you can kind of go down the rabbit holes of oh my God, I need the right 5.0 midfielder that's gonna get me one goal through the season, and I don't know. At a certain point, I think doing too much is kind of a curse to yourself in a way, you know. But I really mean it though, like having like an ethos, and that really gets to what Luke was saying about like, do you want Salah? Do you want Holland? Do you want both? Do you want none of them? I mean, and just having a cohesive way you want to play the game, and a well thought out plan of like, okay, well, if I'm gonna go with Holland, if things go completely wrong, how am I going to Salah?
Right.
Or if Holland's absolutely crushing it, what other pieces can I keep an eye out for that would add to that, you know, like throughout the season, you know?
How can you augment Holland with, how can you cater to his price point while still getting in other players that are returning points as well?
Exactly.
So,
yeah. But just building that idea and being prepared for when things go wrong, because it'll happen. I mean, look, we already have a couple instances of preseason of players getting hurt and injured, and that's just a reality of FPL. You're going to have stuff go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And this season, the good thing is for us, FPL somewhat bailed out FPL managers with like the AFCON transfers, with having more chips and all that, which I like it. I think it adds more to the game. I think it's fun. But it does give you more versatility in how to like cope with those situations. So just be aware of the tools you have. And another good thing too, talk to people about it, you know? Like we're always here we're on Twitter, we're on X.
Blue Sky, baby.
Blue Sky. If you know us personally, you have our numbers. We love talking about this shit. So
that's why we have a podcast.
So let us know, because
we'll
talk about it all day.
Especially during, we're down to talk FPL any time of the year, whether it's right now 3 days before the season starts, or whether it's, beginning of July when there's nothing going on. There's always going to be a time where we're going to talk about FPL. So reach out to us, contact us however you can. And, we're here to chat about it because we love this. We live and breathe it. So, yeah. But I think that probably is going to wind us down to the end of the pod. It's getting a little late here.
Yeah, we're both kind of sleepy.
Yeah, but I think there's some really good bits of wisdom here shared for our listeners, Paul. I really, really like what you were saying about, I don't know. I loved how you talked about the midfielders. I think the way you articulated that and talking about how you're trying to pick them is really going to help managers out there a lot.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I feel like I feel that way every time you say something. So we're not going to turn this into a, you're so good, Luke. You don't know. But like, I don't know. I think that you're right. There's a lot of quality material that may help people out in this podcast. So,
yeah.
If you listen and you think it helped you out, send it to a friend that has questions, or tell them to share all of our stuff with them,
or share it on all your social media sites.
Yeah. Never mind. I'm not going to say that. But,
and with that, we will call it a night. Thank you all for joining us for another episode of Top Bins with Twins. We potentially might be back with another episode before the deadline, where, if we're back, we'll be talking about what we expect for the Premier League generally, and talking about some fixture runs where we can kind of look to invest. So be on the lookout for that, but that one is not yet confirmed. So we've got to talk to our sponsors first before.
Rely on this one that we just recorded for all the more in-depth FPL, like nitty-gritty details,
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, well, thanks for joining us, everyone, and hope you have a good rest of your morning, evening, night, whatever it may be. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, and don't forget to set those teams, 1:30 Eastern Standard Time on Friday.
Right. Do not forget that.
Yeah. All right, thanks, everybody. We'll see you soon.